Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here. Today I am so glad to be joined by Hollywood actor, more importantly to me, man of God, but he's popularly known for his role in Lois and Clark as well as God's Not Dead. But today we're here to talk about a new film that I absolutely loved, No Vacancy. Everyone, I'm talking about the one and only Dean Cain. Thank you so much for joining me.
I am very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am always happy to see what you're doing. I know you're always doing a lot of wonderful films and productions with JC, films and all of that. But No Vacancy was just an incredible true story about how a church in Leesburg, Florida, transforms a community by taking a motel and making it into a homeless shelter or a place for people to really find refuge and not only that but find faith in Christ. Tell me what made you intrigued about wanting to do this story.
Well, one of the things that really appealed to me, obviously, other than just the message of this film, is that it's a true story. So this really took place and this really happened. And so the people making the film, the people surrounding it, producing it, we met all the real people. So this was a real family effort. Everybody wanted to tell this story. It's a great story. The main story to me is the story of Cecil Johnson, who's played by T.C. Stallings in the film, and he does such a great job. Because anytime you're telling a story, if you can really get involved, you can tell a story of 100 people. That's not that you just don't get that involved. That's not that compelling. We really can focus on one person. And Cecil Johnson had a heck of a story. So when T.C. Stallings does a great job telling his story from being a down out, wanting to kill himself, drug-addled, no faith person to the road that he takes and where he ends up at the end is amazing. And how beloved he becomes by the community and what a pillar of the community he became is incredible. So
Yeah.
I was drawn to the story, obviously, and the message 100%. I got to play Pastor Cliff Lee, who's the gentleman who really was spearheading the purchase of the Good Samaritan Inn for a homeless shelter. And he fought those battles. But Cliff himself is such a great guy and has such a great sense of humor and easy way about him. It was wonderful to meet him before I started shooting. He's much taller than me, so I couldn't play that in the film, but I tried to play it as tall as I possibly could.
It's funny. I was going to ask that, meeting the actual people, how did that personally impact you? I know sometimes, like just watching the film, like I have all these dreams in my heart of what I would want to do for the Lord and stuff. And just watching the film is just like, man, like, it inspires me. It ignites something in me to go out and really do what I feel God has called me to do. Did any of that kind of happen with you, just interacting with these people who really did something like this?
Well, it's impossible not to when you see the wonderful things they've accomplished and the people that they're helping. Because we shot everything on the campus and in the area. When we were over at the Good Samaritan Inn, we were over at the Good Samaritan Inn. When we were shooting things on the campus, we were on the campus. And so you see lots of these folks walking around, and you talk to them, and you realize how they've been helped and what they've done. A lot of people were working on the film, and you realize that they have their own story and how this has helped them, and it's incredible. So yeah, that stuff, you feel it, you see it everywhere all the time, and that's one of the reasons, and that's very consistent, I think, throughout making faith-based films. And that's one of the reasons that I was doing that. I started doing that when my son was born, and got a little bit older and was able to come on set with me and see things or watch my films and be able to take away a positive, uplifting message. And other than my character in God's Not Dead, which was not a very, very uplifting character, it's great for him to be able to see some of the characters that I play go through some of the things they go through to find God. And listen, some people talk about faith and they occasionally talk about it and this, and I forget who it is that has a song which, like, I didn't really I don't talk to God much unless my life's in danger. And I look at the moments, and it's true, it's unfortunate, but you look at the moments and there's the times where your things are cruising along great, okay, fine. But like my character in God's Not Dead, my mother tells me, the devil, when the devil's just going along, there's nothing if you're just accepting that and not giving you any trouble in your life,
Yeah.
you're not going to look to God. And that's what the devil wants to have happen. And that was with my character. But that's not, it's so rare for anybody. We all have our struggles. We all have our issues. There are so many conversations I've had with God at the toughest point in times in my life. And there's nowhere else to turn if you don't have that faith. I feel bad for someone who doesn't. And
Right.
maybe it takes those moments to find them. There's a saying, like if you pray for patience, does God give you patience, or does he give you the opportunity to be patient? And that
Yeah.
stuff is true. And it's been wonderful it's been a wonderful journey for me. And especially most of it, has been with my son. Once he was born, I started thinking much more seriously about faith and someone being more important than me. And then it just gets into that whole idea. I remember I had to explain to him that one day he's going to die when he was 5 years old and he couldn't sleep. And I had
Oh,
to sit outside with him in my lap on our outside because he was just so felt so claustrophobic. And that's a tough moment, isn't it, in a parent's life,
yeah.
and for a kid, I'm sure he'll never forget that moment in those days. We're still in the same house and we talk about it sometimes, and
Wow.
he remembers it really, really well.
I just became a mom. So I'm like
Oh,
envisioning having that conversation with
and
my son. I'm like, oh man, think of
yes.
that one.
But then, with my son, one of the craziest things was, so a few years later, and he went to a Christian high school, um, I had a real big deal that I was really depending on, and it the last second it exploded. It went away. It was like a punch to my gut, and I was so upset when it happened. And I remember I was upset. And it was like my whole world had imploded. And my son came over to me and he's like, "It's okay, Dad. God has another plan for this." And I was just like, "Okay."
Wow.
It was
Well, what
insane
you're
that
doing,
it
yeah,
was
what
that.
you're doing is working.
Yeah, and then it comes back around right at you, is what you've been teaching your child, and then they suddenly have more strength than you, or they give you that strength, and
Wow.
thank God for that, because at the time I really needed it,
Yeah,
and it just
that's
kind of made me
beautiful.
laugh too, as much as it made me cry and laugh at the same time. It's like,
Yeah.
of course, but you don't see it sometimes, and we all are guilty of that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank God, first of all, thank God he has a role model like you to follow after and to bring him on sets like this where he gets to see the true transforming power of Christ and Christ, followers who are being the hands and feet of Christ, for these people. You mentioned something about the devil, and how the devil, when you're not doing anything that's a threat to him, he doesn't bother you. And it's a great segue into one of my questions because, I was thinking when you're doing things for God, the opposition is it's crazy. I saw in the film with your character having to go make a case after case to try to get this motel turned into something that would be a positive, impact in the community, but it was met with opposition. There was so much red tape. Can you kind of talk to that?
Yeah, well, it's that. So Pastor Lee, it was great because, again, he has this great sense of humor, and he has these conversations with God. The character does. I'm sure the pastor. I'm totally sure that the pastor does as well. Where it's like he is meeting all this opposition. It's like, God, you want me to help, and that's what I'm doing. I'm following your direct orders to me that I heard it clear as day, and I know this is the right thing to do, and I know I'm trying to help people, and this is the thing that should be happening. But $1 million and having to change three, the hearts of three different commissioners, and it's like, got to keep the faith and move forward. But he does it with a sense of humor, and the real Cliff Lee. I don't know if I captured his sense of humor well enough on the in the film, but great sense of humor and such a calmness about him because of his strong faith, and just keep moving forward. All you can do is keep moving forward. You're gonna meet that opposition, and whether you say it's the devil doing it or you believe that's the case or not, you're gonna have to fight that battle. And he did something wonderful, and to see the whole community come together to support like that, it's the kind of thing
Powerful.
that you know you can't even put it into words. And the community
Yeah.
did come together and had done something completely wonderful.
Yeah, it also speaks to the power of media,
Oh,
because it was the news reporter who, put the story out, and it's why people were able to get involved. And there's so much, in the media right now, and so many people are easily swayed by negative media, unfortunately. We totally need more of that, more positive media.
100%. And Sean Young's character, Sean Young, who plays Brandy Michaels, her character is that person in the media who wouldn't care about it whatsoever. She
Yes,
starts
right.
off in that place and then has to go to Leesburg and cover this feely good story church thing that she doesn't care about, and then her own life gets changed as her eyes are opened, and she sees that even within her own family, her own brother is a victim in that sense, and so for her to change and then put that out there is wonderful, and then for the community to see it. I mean, it's a wonderful story, but that the media is hugely important. That's why I like to make these films, because if it
Mm.
changes one person's heart, 10 people's heart, whatever, or reaffirm something, or maybe open somebody's eyes, that it's worth it.
Well, I hope you keep making them.
I will.
One more thing. Good. Cecil obviously loves his character, and it's funny because T.C. Stallings is a good-looking man, and it's incredible how he
He's too good looking.
transformed.
Shame on him.
You're good looking too, but just the way he transformed so much, he became just really disruffled and all that. It was really wild to see. It was
His
great.
voice, everything about him. He did a great
It
job. I
was
knew it.
wild.
We did the read through. I was like, oh, Cecil's running with this one.
He
He's
was
like
ready.
back in his college running back days or his pro running back days. He just broke through the line and was gone. I mean, he did a great job. He was wonderful in the film.
Yeah. There's a line in the film where he says, he's talking to the news reporter, and he basically asks, do you believe in angels? Like he felt like he encountered an angel, and it's what saved his life. So I want to ask you, do you believe in angels?
Boy, I don't know that. Yes, let's put it that way. Yes, I want to, and I do, but I haven't, I don't know that I've encountered an angel, but you never know. You would never
Yeah,
know,
that's
it's
true.
that thing. And so, yes, 100%. But I couldn't put my finger on, it wasn't the truck driver that picked me up and drove me over to the place like it was in the film for him.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know where in my life they've been. But I live a very blessed life. And
Mm.
so I imagine this happened a number of times along the way.
That's beautiful. If you want to just share one more thing, if that's okay, just about the transforming power of doing something like what the pastor did in Leesburg, and just kind of as an encouragement of the ripple effect that it caused, in a whole community. If you have to encourage anyone who's feeling like I want to do something like that, but they're afraid or just scared of the red tape or scared of the opposition or just feel like they can't do it.
There's always going to be opposition for anything that you want to do in life. You know, you hear every very successful story. Everybody faces opposition. Everybody is, even if it's a successful actor, if everybody told them going through school, you could, yeah, that's so and so. But you could never do that. You can't become The Rock. If you told The Rock, young Dwayne Johnson, that he'd become the guy that he is now, when he was not even a starting defensive lineman on the University of Miami football team, that you'd become this guy. You don't. Everyone say no way. There's no way that'll happen. Um, if you feel it and believe it in your heart that you can do something, and that's what you're called to do, it's the same advice I give anybody about filmmaking or about life, is to never give up. If you're doing the right thing, you believe in what you're doing, never give up. You're going to hit those hurdles. Nothing wonderful ever comes easily. I look back at all of the things in my life where I've become super successful. I really doubted whether I could get them done, whether I could make it. I took on more than I thought I could handle. You think I think I can do this, but it's all those moments where I stepped up and did it
Yeah.
that have led to all the biggest successes in my life. And I think that's true. I mean, Pastor Lee and my character in this film, there's no way he was about to get this done. It just couldn't have happened. It was over.
Yeah.
And he knew it was done, but he felt like that was what he was called to do. And then suddenly it happened. So for anybody out there who is wondering if they're doing the right thing, if it's right in your heart and you're helping other people, carry on, because eventually it'll happen.
That's awesome. Dean, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I hope people see the movie and I hope they're touched by it. That's it.
Oh, they will.